Good evening, everybody. What's going on? Boy, Bug, and this is the I Am Nighthawk podcast show on a Wednesday. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hold on, y'all, good people. See, here's the problem. I need to do this so I know who's tuning in, but I got to remember to turn the sound down. There we go. So we're not interrupting everything. What's going on, y'all? What's happening? Hope y'all having a good week thus far. We got somebody tuned in. They didn't say anything, but they're tuned in. I appreciate them for that much. Thank you very much. This is your boy E-Buck. I am the one they call the Nighthawk, and of course we call this the I Am Nighthawk show because basically these are some of the thoughts and situations that I consider and think about while most of you are in your bed sleep. Now keep in mind it is early for a Nighthawk show because of course, as you know, I have my situation to where sometimes I rest early, sometimes I rest late, but the key is to get rest. Understanding that as you get older, your rest quotient is very important. That is why a lot of us older people end up going to bed early, getting up early, and what have you. All right, we got one of my nieces checking into the show this evening. Good evening, niece. How are you? Thank you for checking into the show. We appreciate you. And you know your uncle love you. And that goes for all my other folks that have adopted me as uncle as well. Love y'all as well. Thank you very much. Okay, here's the deal. It's gonna be a show. It's gonna go kind of quickly because, like I said, getting a little tired. The drugs are kicking in, but that's actually a good thing when I talk about what I usually talk about during the I Am Nighthawk show to start us off. What's going on with my health? You know, that has come a very key element in what I need to do with myself from day to day. Because basically, if I don't take care of my health, there is no more I Am Nighthawk show because I will no longer be here. That being said, this is going to be the last show I do for a minute, as in at least the next month or two. Not because I'm having any great issues health wise, just there are other things that I need to work on. It's summertime. A lot of y'all are basically out doing y'all things this time of night, or basically getting ready for the weekend, what have you. You're not as involved in the podcasting and whatnot. So, you know, that tends to have our numbers down here at the network during the summer months, and that's fine. You know, it's never going to be as it was during the pandemic when basically all we had to do was sit and talk and listen to each other. I'll never have those type of numbers at the moment. But, you know, as time goes on and we get to doing things to modify the show and work on some of the technical things and work on some other projects involving the show. Hopefully, it will increase the audience once again to some degree. I am very confident of that once I get everything the way I want it. And that's part of what we'll be working on in my hiatus. But in the meanwhile, I want to touch on a few thoughts that I have before we head on out for the summer. Again, like I said, my health is doing better. How much better, you may ask? I will actually give you guys a little peek. As I just took my blood pressure prior to showtime and was pleasantly surprised to find that this is my blood pressure this evening. Yes, that says 118 over 79. The best blood pressure numbers I've had all year long. I understand I suffer from high blood pressure. I've taken several medications every day to keep it under control. I am losing weight, not quite at the rate I was. I'm still probably about good 3, 4 pounds away from being under 300 pounds for the first time in almost 8 years. That will be quite an accomplishment when I accomplish it because I'm speaking it into existence. I will be under 300 by the end of the month. I will do my due diligence to make that happen most definitely. I will be under 375 pounds by the end, or 275 pounds by the end of the year. I'm speaking that into existence as well. All right, we got the one I call Granny in the building. What's up, Grandma? I'm happy to see that you are feeling better. I am glad you are checking in. It's good to hear from you, Grandma. Yes, I am doing better. Thank you very much. And thanks to those of you who check on me on occasion, knowing the issues that I've had, and just making sure that I'm okay and I'm feeling better, and I'm not only physically not being good, but mentally. I lost a 145. You can do it. I believe in you. I thank you for that, Grandma. Thank you very much. Like I said, I feel good about it. I could be doing better, even though I am doing better. But I definitely during the hiatus, I will be getting my exercise on and working on implementing some type of exercise routine into my day, as well as I realize that because of the medication, some days I'm just not going to be 100% the entire day. So I need to incorporate more naps in there if possible. I will do that as well. But like I said, overall, I feel good. I'm sleeping well when I do sleep, and when I don't, it's okay because that's just part of who my Nighthawkism is. It is what it is. But as you see, my blood pressure is doing very well, and that is very key to this whole scenario. So hopefully, I can keep up the good work on that front. That being said, let's talk about some of the other things I want to get into right quick. First of all, the big topic of the day and probably of the week is what's going on in terms of the former president and his basically being charged with several offenses in regards to wrongdoing. Now, on the one hand, I would like to say this is a happy moment for me, but when I look at the overall view of it, it really is not. It's actually a bad moment for us all in terms of life and government and what have you. I mean, think about it. The person that we at one point allowed to be in charge of the country, even though most of us did not vote him either time to be the president, basically now is being charged, it seems like, with everything under the sun. And it looks like despite it all, none of it's really going to stick to him. I mean, in an ideal world, think about it. Take his fame and money out the picture. He is basic person A and has documents from the government that contain information that basically could make the United States not exist anymore for all intents and purposes. And then he claims he doesn't have it. They ask him to send these documents back, and he does not. They get them back, and he basically says, "I was the president. I can declassify whatever. This was my stuff. Everything was my stuff." Just the whole arrogance of it all. You know what I'm saying? Whether you are a supporter of DT or not, like myself, you just got to look at this for what it is, people. Who does these things? If this was you, you would not get away with it. You absolutely would not. You would be in prison right now as we speak, not out on your own incognizance. Okay? When you think having money does not help you, that is the perfect example of why it does indeed help. If you think having power does not help you, that is also another perfect example of how it does. And that's why America is how it is right now, because we are, for the most part, as a country, looking to gain the power and money necessary to have those type of things not stick to you, for you to basically be able to damn near say and do what you want and it not affect your bottom line. Though very few of us have that as something we can go to, that is something that a lot of people aspire to. That's why when we talk about, okay, is this person doing a good job as president, the first thing people usually point to is not his temperament, how he deals with other countries, or any of that. It is, okay, what does my money look like now as opposed to what it looked like with the last president? Hell, even when people of color talk about Barack Obama, a lot of people feel like, well, I ain't gonna say a lot of people feel like, but the people that feel like he didn't do enough for us as people is because he didn't affect their bottom line enough for them to be happy with the overall. Like basically because we had a black president, we was automatically supposed to get reparations and everything else. That's not how the world works. That's definitely not how America works. If it did, we'd be a lot more efficient a country, I believe. That being said, yeah, of course we will hear about this for the next several weeks. Who knows when this goes to trial for real? Uh, what we'll be allowed to see and not see. Just the fact that they've been able to squash us having any view of him in the courtroom or any audio or any of that lets you know who really is running this whole scenario. And because he has the power and prestige being the president previously, even if he is convicted, where do you lock that guy up at? I feel like you literally have to lock him up in his own prison by himself somewhere. He basically had to be on some type of extended house type arrest. I mean, because you can't just leave him in with basic prisoner A. Come on now. Just what he knows alone would cause that to be an issue of grand proportion. So yeah, when all is said and done, I understand why to some of y'all this is a non-issue because in the end we know he's never going to jail. I personally feel that too, unfortunately. But in the end, for all the wrong he has clearly done in my eyes, fake news my behind. I see these things, I've heard them for myself. I just don't understand why there are so many people here in America that still will consider when the time comes voting him as the commander in chief yet again. Y'all really, really need to sit down and do a serious, serious deep dive and really consider what you're really saying and trying to put that man back in power. That part. Now, of course, another thing I'm always concerned about is what's going on in my city. And had a very interesting weekend. On the one hand, there was the fact that this weekend it was Pride weekend here, and also Taylor Swift had a couple concerts here. I want to get into that in a minute. But first, I got to talk about the one thing that bothered me and still is bothering me. What happened in the case of this particular incident? Let me show you what I'm talking about, then we'll have a little discussion, folks. Let me play the video for you now.
Take a look at this unbelievable video. We'll slow it down to show you just how bold these suspects are. The young man without a shirt goes for the uniformed Detroit police officer's gun on his right side. He gets it. Meanwhile, his accomplice in the Adidas pants pulls a gun, pointing it at the officer. There's a struggle. The officer wrestles his duty weapon, a 9mm, back from the suspect. The two run off. The officer does not shoot at them.
This is just a ridiculous crime.
Detroit Police Commander Arnold Williams says it happened Saturday evening at the BP station near the Southfield and Joy Road. There's nothing to indicate that this officer, who was off duty heading into work, was targeted specifically. Investigators say it was all about getting the gun.
There's no way I can explain the mindset of someone who would do something like that, but the one thing I can explain is if they would do that to a uniformed police officer, can you imagine what they would do to a regular citizen?
Investigators have identified both suspects. They've executed 2 search warrants at their homes and are in contact with their parents. But still, as of Monday afternoon, they're not in police custody.
If it's any family members that are sheltered.
All right, now the good news is those people in question, those 2 young men, are in custody now. They have turned themselves in, thankfully so. Lord knows these people, I mean, keep in mind that particular gas station is in walking distance of my household, okay? I could literally walk there and be there in about 10 to 15 minutes. So when I say I was concerned because it was literally in my neighborhood, that is why. I mean, understand what you actually saw there. 2 young men, not even 18 years of age, who were bold enough to say, I don't care if that's a police officer. I don't care if he is in uniform. He had his gun on him. I'm going to take his gun. I'm going to show him what's up. I'm going to do this. This is my decision. Understand, we all know that was a stupid decision, especially in this day and age of possible police brutality and all of that. When you set yourself up in a way to where the police is fully within his rights to not only beat the hell out you, but shoot you dead as you could die because you basically attacked him and tried to take his service weapon on his way to work. Imagine, I mean, keep in mind, I'm of a particular age, okay? I am 52 years old. In my growing up, that's something we would have never, and I mean never, considered doing. No way, no chance, no how. Wouldn't even pop in your head as in the consideration of something you would do. And these 2 young men took it upon themselves to attempt to do that. Now, the fact that it took them 2-3 days to turn themselves in, I don't understand that. You knew you weren't getting away with it. I mean, It was on the news that night, and you see those pictures clear as day of what they both looked like. Wasn't no escaping that. Hell, the one dude didn't have no shirt on or nothing. You basically seen him straight up. Okay. The fact that he didn't have a shirt on, that was even more impressive. And well, I won't say impressive. That's a bad choice of word. That was just more brazen to me that you not even fully dressed and attempt this. The fact that you in an establishment and health department code says that you're not supposed to allow people with no shirts in the building of that type. Keeping in mind that that particular gas station is also a gas station slash McDonald's. And in fact, that McDonald's known to us in the neighborhood as Murder Mac. Now, for those of you who grew up in this neighborhood, you know why we call that one Murder Mac. It's not the place where that murder we speak of actually happened, but it is affiliated with where it was once located. So there's that. But nonetheless, just the stupidity of it all. And that's just one of many, many crimes going on, not only here in the city, but across this country every single day. They just had on the news today that Attorney General, he came on and talked about how over 6,000 people so far this year alone have been convicted or prosecuted of violent crimes, okay, across the United States. 6,000. Understand, we're not even into the middle of June just yet. 6,000 people across the country. And when we look at, pretty much most of your major cities, I'm pretty sure the crime overall is increased this year over last year. When you look at all the mass shootings, as in people, that is more than 3 or more people that were involved in some type of shooting incident, there are more mass shootings that have happened already this year than there are days in this year. And again, we're not even halfway through the year yet. I mean, we have set ourselves up to fail at this point. We know one of the right things to do is to make some type of ban or stronger laws to help guns get off the street some way, shape, or form. When we start to have that, there's always those, even some of y'all that pop in here like, no, they can't take our guns away, blah, 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 blah. We're not having that discussion right now. Okay? We know how you feel about it. We've been there, we've done that. But long and short is, this does not go on to this degree in other major countries across the world. Now, whatever reason and rationale you take from that is that, but the bottom line is in most of these countries I speak of, even your Russias, your China's, Japan's, Brazil, what have you, that's because most of those countries have much stronger laws involving firearms than we do. It's just a simple fact of the matter, okay? In us being so arrogant as a country, I don't know why we figure we can somehow figure this thing out and still allow everybody to have military style weapons and it all works out and gun violence just will go down because everybody has a gun. There are literally more guns that are legal guns here in the country than there are people that are actually in the country. They said there are over 300,000 registered weapons here in the United States. I'm talking about registered weapons, not even the illegal ones, just the ones that's actually registered to people. There's only 20 some odd million people in this country, okay? There are actually more legal guns than there are actually people in the United States. No country close to this size can lay claim to that. But of course, we're talking about the same country that spends over $1 trillion on defense every year. For, of course, not just us, but other countries across the world. So that's another story. That in of itself should keep you up at night sometimes. Lord knows, just thinking about it gives me headaches. Okay, we got a comment jumping in. Wow, says Nichelle. Hey, Nichelle, how are you? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. One of the things I definitely need to take care of during my hiatus is catching up with some of my peoples that I have not had some extensive discussions with in a while. You are definitely one of them that I need to talk to. Basically when my mom died and then the health issues and all that, I got wrapped up into that a lot. That's why, for one, you haven't seen me do many of these, but two, that's just a lot to deal with. And of course, because I'm still dealing with a lot of the fallback from that, that is part of why I need to step away for a minute and try to get things a little better situated. But also, I do want to work on some of my technical stuff in terms of the show, some of my other smaller projects that have been neglected because of trying to catch up with my rest and get my medicine situations right and what have you. So there's that. But yeah, really, part of me also just needs to enjoy my summer. I mean, granted, my mom is no longer here, and I think about it every day. And you see, I mention it on every show because it's you can't help but think about that. The Nighthawk Network studio is literally the household of which I grew up in. That was her. So can't help but think about it. It just is what it is. But when all is said and done, I have to continue on my life. In order to do that, I need some time to process and heal up some more figuratively, literally, emotionally, and then I can move forward. Because I know I still have purpose left here in this life, and I still got work to do, and I still look forward to doing it the best way I know how. Understand, my friend, your health comes first. Absolutely. I thank you for your understanding. I also thank all of you for your understanding along the way, especially those of you who helped me when I was really down and out. For some of you, I cannot thank you enough. I cannot repay you enough. It's just so much to be said to you. Some of you, I need to say it in person at some point. Some of you, I just need time to properly repay your acts of kindness to me. And I appreciate those taking the time to patiently wait that out in that process. Thank you so much for all your help in these things. Definitely doing a better job of working all of that out so that this time next year, hopefully, a lot of these financial situations will be much better settled in my life. Uh, my health will be a lot better, and then I can concentrate on other things for my later days here in this life. Basically, once you get to a certain age, particularly that 50 point, I think my brother is thinking a lot about that now that he just turned 50 not too long ago. You start to figure, okay, what is left of these chapters in this book? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you definitely think about your morality at that point, and how much you got left in the tank, so to speak. I feel, once I get my health in better shape, I still got quite a bit left in the tank still. I mean, I know I'm 52, but I don't look it, and today I don't feel it. And as long as I have more days like that in the days to come, I think I'm gonna be okay. I really do. And keeping me mentally strong is also key in this. I mean, a lot of people dealing with mental health issues at this point and causing them to have problematics. For those of you, I say, you hang in there. And if you really, really, truly need help, seek out that help because we've had so many hard incidents to deal with this year with people basically seeking violence and destruction as their final actions here in this life. And it really don't have to be that way. Even now, some people considering what their last chapter is and getting their thoughts together in a very harmful way. And I really want you to rethink that before you go there. We got my brother Big Meat checking in. Let's get on the weight loss journey together. I've gained 85 pounds over the last 5 years. Want to get back to that 290. And if you watched Big Meat's show a couple weeks ago, he showed you a picture of what he looked like at 290. Very, very good, strong looking man at 290. Keep in mind he is several inches taller than me, so 296.4. That's a good weight for him. I personally want to get somewhere around 225 by the end of next year, and eventually before the end of this decade, somewhere 200-ish. Because basically at 60, about 200 pounds, I think that's a good weight for me. And it shouldn't be hard to lose 5 pounds a year as opposed to the 50s and 75s I'm trying to lose now. But like I said, my goal is to definitely get under 300 by the end of the month and under 275 by the end of the year. Those are very doable goals. I just have to stay in my lane and keep eating them salads and stay away from the fried stuff and what have you. And, get my exercise in and make sure I keep taking my medicines every day. I think if I do all those things effectively, I can make it happen. And you absolutely can too, Meech. I definitely believe you can accomplish that. I know part of the difficulty in it is us dealing with things in a way, and we used to use food as a mechanism to help heal ourselves in terms of feeling better, food therapy, so to speak. If we can get past some of that along the way, that helps. And then, of course, with all the things that have happened in your world and the same time it's happened to mine, I just admire your strength, sir, because for what has happened to me this year, times that by 5 with what's going on in Meech's life. And yet still, he's still finding a way to wake up every morning. I'm thankful for that, and I pray for you every day, my brother. I do. The first 60 was 20-year eating candy, trying to stay awake while working full time and going to school full time. Been there and done that, sir. Then 10 was gained over COVID. Yep, I get it. But like I said, I have full confidence, my friend, that if you truly put your mind to it, you can make it happen. And then we can definitely have some shows where we talk about what we did to make it happen so we can encourage others. There are other people in my circle that I'm encouraged by. Shout out to people like Miss Kenyatta Peoples, who basically went on her weight loss journey a few years ago and is in tremendous shape right now. Lost a nice amount of weight and just looks incredible. Good job to you. There are other people in my circle that have lost quite a bit of weight as well. I am basically feeding off you guys' energy also. And hopefully I can be encouraging to other folks as I do my thing. Then the last 15 has been depression and loss. Absolutely. And that's the part that's hardest because my key thing that I concern myself with in terms of me is not getting too low at this point. Because I could sit here and when I sit down and really think about what has happened, even in these last 12 months with me, it could be woe is me, woe is me. It's hard when you're dealing with these things. And then two of my good friends that I've constantly talked about that I lost during the pandemic, I miss them so much because they were two people that understood pretty much it all because we had those type of really deep, in-depth discussions. Fortunately for me, I still have good friends in my life that I can call and talk to and lean on. Misha just being one of them, Nichelle another one. But I'm thankful that I have those type of people in my life so that I don't feel like I have to be alone, even though I live alone. I'm not alone. And it is good to know that for myself and know that for some of you, if you need me to lean on, I am here for you. Sometimes we have to make time. That's why I'm taking my hiatus because I need to make time to talk to some of you because it's been a minute. Miss Jones, for example, you know who you are. I definitely need to talk to you soon just because it's been too long. And at one point in time, we were very, very close. And I do miss that, and I feel you probably could use a friend as well as I could right now in regards to how we feel and you know all that good stuff. So I'm very much going to try to be in touch with you sometime in the next 7 days. Knock on the wood, make it so and amen and all of that because it is long overdue, my friend. Long overdue. Shout out to my guy Pride Hunter. We definitely need to talk as well. It's been a minute since we've discussed. Tracy, if you check this out later, we long overdue for a discussion because even though we don't discuss much, we tend to have some very deep, thoughtful, insightful conversations. And I do miss that. And I am dire need of that at some point where I can just take a few hours out of my time and yours, and we can sit down and really talk. See, I don't like to just have this fly by night conversation with Tracy. He's not kind of a fly by night type of discussion. For those of you in my circle that know Tracy DeJohn, you just know some of the things that he posts just how deep and involved that man is. Me just checking in. Here is the key: accept what has happened. Know that you can't change the past or outcome. Release the anger. This is a process because it comes in spells. Regain who you are. Get back into those things that bring you joy. And I will add to that, Meech, that if you are in a situation much like myself where you live a lot of your life concentrating on others, now may be the time for you to figure out who you truly are, what you truly need to do to find yourself, if that is what you need to get back there. I mean, keep in mind, there are several of us, particularly in the African American community, that suffered great amount of loss during this pandemic. And it's something that we don't talk about enough, the after effects of it all, how much it has hurt people, how much we missed our loved ones, how people had families just disappear in a matter of days due to the pandemic. I mean, it's just something that we really need to take our time to kind of understand more now that we're stepping away from the pandemic and hopefully moving forward. This will be something that will affect us for generations. And, we really need to have that understanding. Plus, we need to make sure that in the event that we have something catastrophic like this ever happen again, we are better mentally prepared to contend with it, because I think that's where we have gone afoul of work. I think that's part of why the country is the way it is right now, with such disarray and what have you, because of our thoughts and feelings in regards to how it all went down. Use the happenings as fuel to push you into what you want to do in life. Forgive yourself. Stop punishing yourself for not meeting benchmarks. Reclaim your time and just refocus. And with you having said all that, I know you feel that to thine own self be true. And I feel we both can follow that model you have set out for us, Meek. We will be in much better situations sooner than later. Because, like I said, I know you deal with depression much as I do. I'm in a good place right now, though. I don't have those feelings. I have my moments, true enough, but nothing to where I get deep into my bag and have those days and weeks as I once did, particularly during the pandemic. I mean, especially when we lost H2, that still affects me to this day. And I often talk about my good friend Derek Smith, also known to the world as Helena Hologram, always close by here on the board and in my heart, because it's just every day something that happened, and I really, really wish he was here so we could discuss, because even though we didn't know each other for a long time, he understood, and I understood on his end. It didn't matter what part of the conversation it started out or ended up on. We connected. I know God meant for us to be friends at some point, and I draw strength from him, even to this day. Even though he is no longer physically with us, I still feel his presence in my life, and I'm thankful. Same for my good friend Janet as well, who I miss constantly. Someone who I've talked about. At one point we were an item, and then later on in life we came back together as friends. And she got me through some very difficult times, and I like to think I was helping her through some of her times as well before her untimely demise. And I miss her very much so too. Just a lot. But again, I try not to dwell on those things. I'm trying to look forward in the head to all the good times to come. Looking forward to like I said, getting in better shape, doing some older people stuff. I want to take up golf sometime next year. Start really on that. I want to get back into bowling. I was a bowler for a time. That I really want to play pickleball. I was the one who mentioned to y'all about pickleball before it was even a thing. I want to get to it to the point where I actually join a pickleball league, perhaps, or even start one, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, there are so many things I still feel I can accomplish here in this life. I'm far from done. Let the moments be moments only. Do not stifle those moments, because they will intensify when you do release. and know it's okay to feel whatever you feel whenever you feel it. And also will say that something that H2 always pointed out to us, we all grieve differently. We all are different in that process. You know, I can sit here and tell you I have not had the moment, as a lot of people talk about, where you just basically break down and lose it and oh my mama gone, oh my father gone. I've never had that moment for either one of them. It's not that I did not love my mother and father. I very much did and very much do. It's just, we process differently. But then there's those times that I think about it. I mean, full disclosure, I think I dream about one of them at least every other day. And some of those dreams are just dreams from what happened in the past. Some of them are them I feel manifesting themselves in what's going on in my life now. I constantly think about them in my sleep, obviously. So it's not like they're forgotten or I'm lost because I feel like I said, their spirits are a part of who I am now. They've joined the ancestors, but I feel like, much like when you think about the movie Black Panther and they take the potion and go back to the ancestry tree and whatnot, I think to a smaller degree, that's kind of what I'm doing in my dreams at this point. And, I feel like from that energy, I'm able to move forward and keep it going. So I will do just that. Going back to what I was talking about in terms of the Detroit thing, like I said, those two young men are caught, and I know there'll be other incidents in the city over the course of the summer, especially now that school has let out. All I can say is, people, we really got to, at some point, sit down and think about why we doing some of the things we're doing. And I know part of it is just not even thought related. It's the effect of people that are on medications, self medications. And because of that, they are not thinking clearly because they are constantly medicating themselves with alcohol and marijuana and cough syrup and pills and all the other things that some of these people are taking. Some of us, we grew up a certain way to where we don't know how to feel because we never was taught about feelings or about respect or anything like that. And because of that, your view of the world is a lot different than mine. And it's one that I cannot relate to because I never lived that life to that degree. I had people in my life that would sit down and talk to me and discuss right and wrong and what have you. Some of you, y'all just simply don't have that in your lives. It is not a part of your village, so to speak. So that is part of the issue. All I can say is that I just hope in that moment, right before whatever incident happens, you just take a minute to think about, do I really want to do this? Is this really worth it? If you know you're going someplace and it's going to be an issue, do you have that moment like, maybe I shouldn't go tonight? I got a bad feeling. I go back to something I told Hugh a few weeks ago, right before Memorial Day. We was on 6 Mile. I said, Hugh, something bad gonna happen in this neighborhood in the next 24 hours. I don't feel comfortable. We gotta get out of here. And over the course of that weekend, at least 3 or 4 different incidents on the news alone came up involving McNichols Road, also known as 6 Mile. And like I said, that's just the one that was on the news. I've heard about others since that time. And I don't want that to be an issue. I mean, let's go to something positive that happened here in the city this weekend. Let's talk about Taylor Swift coming to town. That was a big get for the city of Detroit, whether you understand it or not. She is by far one of the top 3 artists in the world right now, in my personal opinion. She's right up there with Beyonce. It's her. You know, name whatever super group or what have you at the time. Definitely top 10. And she came to town and it had an immediate impact on our economy. People from all across the country, not just all across the city, not just all across the state, all across the country came here to Detroit to see Taylor Swift, to stand in lines for hours I mean, literal hours to just buy her merchandise for hours to see the concert. Keep in mind, she had two concerts, one Friday, one Saturday, both sold out, and average ticket price at least $250, at least. When I tell you, just based on the people that were trying to see that concert in this area alone, she could have been in concert all week and sold out every last one of them with ease. And understand that Ford Field seats comfortably 60, 65,000 people. Yeah, she could have sold out like that. And understand she is in Pittsburgh this week, I believe. And I imagine they would have the same type of response. But the thing I liked about the Taylor's Swift crowd was that it ran the gambit. Yeah, the majority of people were teeny boppers between the ages of 12 and 25. That was the majority of the fans that came to see her. But no, there were people of color that came to see her. There were older people that were Swifties. There were males that were Swifties. There were people of the alphabet community that were Swifties. And keep in mind, it was the Pride Festival downtown as well. So that was actually a good mix for them. That, I don't know if it was planned that way, but it was actually very smart to have the Pride Festival the same weekend as Taylor Swift, because those two things meshed together very nicely. And there were Tiger games, and Swifties and people in the Pride Festival, they also participated in that. One of the coolest gear things I saw this weekend was somebody had a hat, and it basically had a Taylor Swift picture on the back here somewhere, and on the front it was a Tiger's hat, but it was with the rainbow color. I thought that was pretty sweet myself. And then one thing I also like that Taylor did a concert, and it's called Eras, and basically it's based on her various albums over the years, and a lot of the people dressed up as different themes from different albums that she did. Basically different outfits that she wore in different videos and all that good stuff. Famous people actually came to Detroit to be in concert with Taylor Dane. Well, not Taylor Dane, Taylor Swift. Showing my age, they're talking about Taylor Dane. But also amongst them was one Flavor Flav. Yeah, you heard me. Flavor Flav came one night here to Detroit for a Taylor Swift concert. And he was not alone. Though that being said, uh, Flavor Flav has been here a few times this year for other shows by other artists. So I'm wondering if he has people in this area. But nonetheless, it was a very nice turnout. Saturday was very warm, so it was, if you are a people watcher and you just like to watch people and see what they had going and whatnot, downtown was the perfect place to be Saturday. You would have saw some of everything. And as my friend Meeks would say, baby, baby. It was a going on, going on. Sunday the weather wasn't quite as good, but it still was a nice turnout that day as well. And we need more stuff like that here in the city, because those people, they bring themselves here and they spend their money and they help with our economy, and that's important. And I know there are some people who look like me who do not like when we have this type of stuff, because like, why all these white people come to the city and whatnot? We should not look at it that way. Not at all. These people are much more a help to what goes on here in the future of the city than they are a hindrance. Those of you so concerned about gentrification and them taking over the city and whatnot, I mean, for some of y'all, look at what y'all doing with the city. I think I would gladly swap some of them out for y'all based on some of what I've seen some of y'all do. But for those of you that just don't quite get it, I think you need to gain a better understanding of the bigger picture of it all when we have these events and people from out of town and across the state come to spend their dollars here in Detroit. You want that, and most importantly, we need that. It helps that, eventually we get a good team. You'll see if the Lions actually have the season that we think they are capable of having. How many people will bring themselves to the city to check out Lions football and spend their money after the game and whatnot? This is what we want to happen, what we need to happen. Yes, Detroit will never be the fourth or fifth largest city in America once again, but we can get back into a million plus. Think about what significance that had to our economy, to the future of the city, to getting things really fixed in terms of our infrastructure and roads and what have you. If we have that type of cliche to say, okay, this is one of the top 20 cities in America again, you have to pay attention to what's going on here in Detroit. Not just because we the motor city and we have Motown and what have you, but because we do have financial significance in this country based on our numbers, our sheer numbers. So we want that and we need that. So yeah, we need more concerts, and we do have more concerts coming up this summer. We got Post Malone coming to town. Ed Sheeran's supposed to be here. We got the Rolling Stones. We got a couple smaller events, and then of course there's a constant flow of comedy concerts coming through here all the time. I mean, just basically every major comedian you could think of at some point usually comes to Detroit for a show. From your Adam Sandlers and Burt Krishners to your Cat Williams and your Earthquakes and Chris Rocks and what have you. So yeah, we definitely want that to continue. That they continue to see Detroit as a viable option to come and make money, entertain the folks. We want that to happen, and most importantly, we want that to happen safely. We have several festivals coming up as well. We know the fireworks will be up soon, and out of all the events that trouble me in terms of downtown, that's probably the one that troubles me the most because it always seems to be several incidents that happen during the fireworks, and as a result, they clamp down on it even more to make it to where us decent folks don't even want to go down there and be a part because it feels more like celebrating during martial law than anything else because it has to be so tight so that we keep everything chill, you know. I don't want that. I want people to be able to go downtown, particularly people of a particular age like myself, and enjoy themselves and not have to worry about what young knuckleheads or just what militant people from other parts of the state decide to come do that weekend to act a fool. And then, of course, I'm still concerned about the street racing and all of that. You know, it is what it is. Nonetheless, I'm gonna try not to think about those things so much and concentrate on the things I need to do to get my life in order and keep things focused and together. Like I said, we're gonna be off the air, me and also my co-host on the show that we know as Game Time Audible. That would be Mr. Hugh Lee, but of course he will be doing some things on his own during the summer months. Let me show you one of them right quickly. I am proud of my brother for stepping out of his comfort zone and doing something a little different. This is the podcast that Mr. Hugh Lee is working on. It's called The Guru Perspective. You can find it on Spotify and also, I believe, on Google Podcasts at this point. And hopefully, as we grow the audience, we'll be able to find it in more places. He is still talking sports and giving you his in-depth view of certain things and certain issues. He has done a new podcast for the week. You can find the link to it, I believe, on his page and also on his Pure to the Game page that we always advertise here on the show. That one right there. So if you go to Pure to the Game, you should be able to catch up with his other podcast, which is The Guru's Perspective. He talks about what went on in the NBA during the finals on this recent episode. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but looking forward to checking it out. I'll be working on little small projects. Don't be surprised if you see me make a guest appearance on Dish and Tea here and there, as Meet usually allows us the opportunity to do that if we so choose to, or pop up on my cousin's podcast as she will still be doing her thing. We still, of course, will be posting those things in the Nighthawk Network information page. One of the projects I'm actually working on is to create a possible internet radio station for the Nighthawk Network. Of course, it'll be a part-time station because, I work full-time. I don't have time to full-time run a station as well. But if I can work it out to where I have a part-time station a few days a week, I definitely would love to do that, where I not only play some of my favorite songs and music, but also do some radio-style podcasts. And of course, there are a couple projects I'm working on for bringing back to when we do come back on the air. One of them that I will be doing is a entertainment show where we talk about things in movies and television and music and what have you. That is one of the podcasts I've been wanting to bring to you for quite some time now. I will be working on that. And for that podcast, I actually would like a co-host or two. So I will advertise for that throughout the summer. And for those of you who've been wanting to do a podcast but felt like you wasn't able to carry it on your own, or just wanted to be part of one, or just want to see what it works out like, and then maybe branch out on your own, whatever the case may be. This might be a good opportunity for you to do just that by joining me on that podcast and talking entertainment news. I know one person in mind I definitely would like to take a interest in it, but I will have you come to me, my friend, if that's what you so choose to do. You would be ideal for the situation, but it's something I want you to acknowledge for yourself, because you would be good at it. You've been hitting on it for quite some time. I know you could do it. I just want you to know you could do it. But nonetheless, that is what is being said for this particular podcast. We about to call it a night, and I guess we will call it a season. When we come back in mid-August, we'll be ready to talk to y'all some more. Again, if anything major happens in the world, of course, I will use my platform to pop on and discuss it. Have to do that. But beyond that, I will be chilling for a while. Of course, you'll still catch up with me on Facebook and Instagram, and you'll see my posts, particularly when I'm cooking. Yes, I have heard you, the people. We trying to figure out some type of cooking show, podcast thing to do. That's gonna take a little bit longer to formulate. To give me a little time on that one, but we're gonna figure it out because y'all like when I cook. What can I tell you? Y'all want to know the process. Y'all want to see the product. Y'all want to know how I do what I do. So we're gonna figure that out somewhere down the line. But anyway, I need y'all all to have a very safe summer. Get some rest. If you're going out on vacations or whatnot, please be mindful of your surroundings and be careful. Remember, when you are not at home, you are not at home. Be mindful of that at all times. We want you to enjoy yourself, but in the same token, we don't want no bad stories coming from that time you went somewhere and something bad happened. Okay? And understand, those of you in Detroit ain't that bad a place when you know how to deal with it properly and contend with good places. Y'all might actually have a nice staycation here if you plan it out correctly. My personal opinion. Hopefully next year I'll be able to afford to actually do that and document it and talk about it for myself. I would love to show y'all how to do Detroit fun style without all the craziness. But anyway, that is that. I am Nighthawk. We gone, y'all.